Have you ever looked up at the moon and wondered if we really went there? It might sound crazy, but for decades, millions of people have believed the Apollo moon landings were the biggest hoax ever pulled. But why? Where did this idea even come from? It all started back in the 1970s. A guy named Bill Kaysing, who worked for a company that built rocket engines for NASA, self-published a pamphlet called "We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle." He claimed he had inside knowledge and that the technology just wasn't there yet. He argued that the whole thing was staged in a secret film studio, possibly in the Nevada desert. His book became the Bible for moon landing conspiracy theorists. So, what's their evidence? Well, a lot of it comes from analyzing the photos and videos from the missions. One of the most famous arguments is about the American flag. People ask, why is the flag waving if there's no air on the moon? It looks like it's fluttering in a breeze. In reality, the flag was held up by a horizontal rod that got a bit stuck, causing the wrinkles. The waving motion happened when the astronauts were planting it into the lunar soil, in a vacuum. Once something starts moving, it keeps moving for a while. Then there's the issue of the stars. In all the photos taken on the moon's surface, the sky is completely black, not a single star in sight. If there's no atmosphere to obscure the view, shouldn't the sky be filled with brilliant stars? NASA's explanation is pretty simple. Photography. The lunar surface was brightly lit by the sun. And so were the astronauts in their white suits, to get a good picture without everything being overexposed and washed out. The camera's shutter speed had to be fast and the aperture small. This setting was great for capturing the bright foreground, but it wasn't sensitive enough to pick up the relatively faint light of distant stars. It is like trying to take a picture of stars from a brightly lit city street at night. Your camera will expose for the street lights, not the dim stars. Another big one is the shadows. Conspiracy theorists point to photos where the shadows of astronauts and objects on the moon seem to go in different directions. They say this proves there were multiple light sources, like studio lights. But scientists explain this with topography. The lunar surface isn't a perfectly flat studio floor. It's covered in hills, craters, and slopes. These uneven surfaces can distort shadows, making them appear to point in weird directions, even with only one light source, the sun. Plus, the lunar module itself could reflect sunlight, creating a secondary, weaker light source that could also affect the shadows. And what about the lack of an impact crater under the lunar module? Shouldn't a rocket powerful enough to land a spacecraft on the moon have blasted a huge hole in the ground? Well, not exactly. The lander's engine was throttled down significantly during the final descent. And in the vacuum of space, the exhaust plume spreads out much more than it would on Earth. The pressure was only about 3 pounds per square inch, which is just enough to kick up some surface dust, but not enough to carve out a crater. Despite all the scientific explanations, the theories persist. They tap into a deep-seated distrust of government and authority. The Cold War space race was a high-stakes competition, and the idea that one side might fake a victory to gain an edge is a compelling narrative. Films like Capricorn One, which depicted a staged Mars landing, certainly helped fuel the public's imagination. Today, we have rocks brought back from the moon, tested by scientists worldwide. We have mirrors left on the surface that we can bounce lasers off of from Earth and space. Agencies from other countries have orbited the moon and photographed the Apollo landing sites, showing the landers and even the tracks left by the astronauts. Yet, for some, the idea of a grand deception is more powerful than any evidence. It's a story that's just too good to let go. What do you think? Is it the greatest achievement in human history or the most elaborate movie ever made? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating topics.